Alright, so in this video here we're going to be setting up the rear brake setup. So we got our cable down here, a couple tools. We're going to need some cutters, 5mm Allen wrench, and a pair of crimpers. Before I start this video here, I wanted to make note on something that I had a little issue with that I came across here. Before I do the videos, I typically like to just kind of do a trial and error run of everything before I get it all dialed in, and so I'm not sitting here, you know, making this video that's even longer than what it needs to be. But anyways, I got the rotor all straightened out here. Everything's, you know, lined up really smooth. If you look in here, you see those two washers right there on basically spaces this rotor out a little more. The issue I was having, if you look right here, this adjuster tab on the brake caliper was actually hitting the chain and it wouldn't even allow it to spin. It was rubbing up against there. So what I did is I added a couple spacers in there to basically space this out a little more and give a lot more room in here to work with on the caliper. No rubbing issues, anything like that. So got that all taken care of here. Let's get right on into the video and show you guys how to set the rear brake up. So first, coming up here, up top, on the rear brake right here, there's two holes. What you're going to want to use is this first one right here. So we'll go ahead and put our brake line in there. So get that guy in there. See how he's in there now? Go ahead, push him through there, tighten it down a little bit. Go ahead, run the cable down through here. Back through here, come on in closer here. So, let's let the cable sit loose through there for now, that's fine. We'll get everything set up here when we're all done, but just getting everything set up here first. So the cable goes through here. We got our little, you know, bend, you know, little piece of bend right here that makes it a lot easier to work with. The cable sits right here basically flush and then comes up right here, so it gives you guys an idea, you know, where your cable needs to end and then attach this piece. So, alright, come over here a little closer, right about there. So if you look right here, this little tab, it's kind of hard to see in here. There's a little groove right there, a little hole. That's where we're going to want to put our line through, right, that little guy right there. So go ahead and fish that guy through here, loosen this bolt up, get our line through there. Okay, once we get our line through there, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up a little bit. I should have showed you guys putting the caliper on and bolting it on. Very straightforward and easy. Just put the two bolts through here, I just realized that. So we got our caliper here. And you see how much play I have in here, you know, to where I tighten it down. What we're going to want to do is just a little bit. Just get a little bit, you know, slack taken up in there. Take our 5mm now and tighten her down. If you got a ball head of it, you're going to have to use a flat part of it because that little ball end isn't going to be able to work in there to tighten it down. So we got, if you look carefully here now, you can see that the cable is going through that little hole right there, a little tight. So it's, you know, it's run through that little groove where you want it to be. So go ahead and finish tightening this down. We got that. Everything still seems to be running smooth through here. Check our brakes. So we see how much play we have in there. We have quite a bit of play. If you look up here on the handle, let me show you here, probably see a little better here on the handle. See how that literally goes all the way to the grip? You don't want it like that. This is the front brake I did earlier. You see how much that takes up right there? That's exactly what you want. That's just my personal preference. I mean, I guess some people may like for it to go all the way up like that. Me? Not me, I don't like that. So, see how we're gonna adjust that here. Let's see, get the flashlight. If you look down in here, it's gonna be really hard to see. There's a little gap in between the rotor and the brake pads in there. We're going to want to take that gap up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do, no, that's fine, just pull right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little more slack up. I think just from what I looked in there, it's kind of hard to see into the camera at the same time, but it's still got a fair amount of gap in there. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this cable up just a tad bit more. Take up some more slack on that. So go ahead and pull that through a little bit more. We'll try that right there. So that feels pretty good up there. Go ahead, let's have a look. Check it with the flashlight. The only thing that's really everything looks pretty good actually. That looks really good in there. We can check the brakes again. So let's come back up here to the brake lever. So that's pretty good right there. It's not going all the way up to the grip like it was before. See the front again. Real nice. The rear. So we got a little bit more play we can take out. So now we're going to come down here to the caliper and we're going to do some fine-tuning adjustments on that. So if you look down in here, there's this little tab right here. Let's see if we can see a little better now. So this little tab in here, it's kind of hard to see, there's a little gap right there, but we're going to adjust this little tab in, which brings that brake pad in, so it's going to hit sooner. So we go ahead and tighten that up. Yeah, I need a flathead screwdriver. Kind of hard to get my finger in there and adjust it, but there we go. It's a brand new caliper, so sometimes they've been sitting for a little bit and they're harder to adjust. So let's check a little bit more. Let's try that. A little bit more. Real close. There we go. Next click, and when you adjust this little lever right here, you'll feel the different notches as you adjust it. It'll like a little piece where it locks into. So that feels pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and spin it. So we're just getting some light dragging on the rotor to the brake pad, which is very fine. That's totally normal. You see it's not dragging too terribly much. The only thing you're really getting dragged on when the wheel isn't spinning perfectly is because this rotor, the sprocket right here, sorry, not the rotor, the sprocket is a little bit bent. It's a brand new one, came from the factory that way. It's got a flaw in it, so that's the only thing that's kind of giving it a tight and loose spot. Other than that, the rotor looks real good. Just double check the brakes up here again. See how that is. Nice and tight, and if you want, you could even adjust your little tab right here to fine tune it in a little bit more. Front brake, everything's looking really good now. Come over here whenever you've got everything adjusted how you want. We're gonna double check all our work, make sure everything's nice and tight. We'll double check our bolts right here. That one looks pretty good. Get up here. Check that guy, that one's good. Our two up top right here. These two bolts up top right here, what these two bolts do is if you loosen them up, it will give you a little movement on your caliper back and forth, side to side. So, I should say just side to side, not back and forth, side to side only. So, you guys know what I mean, I hope. So, double check those, make sure those are nice and tight, good. Last, we'll check our cable here, make sure that guy's nice and tight. That feels good. Double check our work. Everything's good. Come down here, we have our excess cable right here. So we're just going to go ahead and cut that. After we cut that, we take our little, little clamp right here, slide it over so it doesn't unravel on us. And we'll take our pliers right here and pinch that together. And there we go. So everything is nice clean setup now, and I'll run the cables all perfectly a little later in a couple more videos we're gonna make, but that should give you the idea now of getting your brakes and everything set up. So there's that. Brake levers. Everything's good. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, post up. I'll be happy to help where I can. Hope that video helps you guys out, anyone trying to fine tune and dial your brakes in. So as always, appreciate you guys watching, and there you go. Enjoy.